let's go ahead and get started on Social Security Part 2. What's important about it? Well, we're going to cover many things today. First of all, we're going to cover and talk about the 3 stages and strategy options. What do I mean by 3 stages? Well, I mean 3 stages: filing early, full retirement age, and delayed credits. We're going to be deep diving a little bit more into those stages so that you can have, when you go to apply for Social Security benefits, you'll have that knowledge that you need in order to know exactly how to file efficiently. Strategy number 1, we're also going to be talking about strategies for couples, and we're also going to be talking about survivor benefits. Both of those are very, very important, and we'll actually put pen to paper and give you a couple of examples that you can see for yourself what those numbers are. And again, our goal here is to make sure you have enough information, and we're just going to scrape the surface. We're going to scrape the surface and give you enough information that we think is important in order to be helpful to you when you do go to file, because Social Security is just one piece of your financial plan and retirement that it needs to be considered. But let's talk about deciding when to collect and some considerations that you need to have. One would be your health. If you're a healthy person and you're older and thinking about retirement, you may want to delay your retirement. Again, we'll talk about this in depth a little bit more. Or if you're maybe not in the best of health, perhaps maybe you want to file a little earlier with your Social Security benefits, but that has to be a consideration. Next is life expectancy. And we often talk about this in client meetings that we have. In fact, in the fact-finding portion of our client meetings, I talk about life expectancy. How long do you think that you're going to live? And the answer to that question is actually very important because it depends upon your financial plan and the results from that financial plan. In fact, very first time I had a client a couple weeks ago tell me that he wanted to plan to age 125. First time I'd ever heard that he was going to be that old. But some people that we talk to and help, they don't think they're going to live very long, and other people do. But you need to have and incorporate that into your financial plan, life expectancy, because that's going to be a determining factor in Social Security as well. Your marital status, whether you're single, married, widowed, or divorced. If you're divorced and you were married longer than 10 years, you can actually file on your ex-spouse's record. Of course, there's some rules that you have to follow, and we'll get into that. But your marital status should be considered when you're filing for Social Security. Survivor benefits. Okay, you will receive survivor benefits, obviously, if you are eligible, but that has to be a consideration as well. Whether you're working or whether you're not working. In other words, I'm going to file for my benefits and I'm going to continue to work. Well, there's some considerations when deciding that you need to be mindful of, and we're going to talk about that. How long do you plan on spending? If you are working and you are planning to file for your benefits, how long are you going to be in the workforce? Certainly an important consideration. And last but not least is, what other resources do you have to help you in that retirement stage of your financial life cycle? Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, maybe even 401ks. Those are also important considerations when deciding when to start your benefits, because those can be an important source to enhance your Social Security. But let's talk about, again, the 3 stages of filing early, your full retirement age, and delayed credits. Let's dig right into filing early. Now, the first age, or the earliest age that you can file, is age 62. You cannot file before then. And as we talked about in that first part, you have to be eligible. So that entails that you have those 40 credits. Okay, but age 62 is the first age that you can file. However, depending upon the age that you were born, and in this case, I've used an example of an individual who is their full retirement age is 66, and one whose full retirement age is 67. And again, it depends upon the year that you were born. If you were born before 1954, your FRA is 66. If you were born after 1960, like I was, your FRA is 67. In between 1954 and 1960, you're going to add 2 months for every year after 1954 and between 1960. So if you file at age 62 and your FRA is 66, you will only receive 75% of your benefit, which means simple math tells me that you're going to have a 25% reduction. If your FRA is 67, you're going to have a 30% reduction, which means you'll only receive 70% of your benefits. Now, very important, couple of important points that are absolutely critical to understand. This 25% reduction lasts your entire life. It does not stop once you reach your full retirement age. In other words, if you have a 25% reduction at age 62 and your FRA is 66, your benefit does not automatically go up to 100% at age 66 or your full retirement age. That 25% reduction stays with you. So even if you're 100 years old and still receiving benefits, that 25% reduction is going to be attached to you the rest of your life. Same with the FRA at age 67. Again, doesn't matter, that 30% reduction stays with you. Second point here is this reduction is based upon the month that you retire early, not the year. Now, in this example, I've assumed that this individual retired, or I ran the numbers to assume that this individual retired on their birthday. But there's a formula attached with it if you're going to retire early. And that formula is very simple. Your Social Security benefits are going to be reduced by 0.556% for each month that you retire up to 36 months before your FRA. And they're going to get reduced even further by 0.417% for an additional 24 months. So what does that look like from a numbers perspective? It means that you could potentially have up to 25% reduction, 30% reduction, depending upon your age. But the other question that we often get is, okay, well, maybe I want to file, but yet I'm still working. So we just talked about a moment ago about your age penalty. And again, that never goes away. Despite the fact that you may get to your full retirement age, that benefit, that reduction sticks with you. The other benefit reduction, if you're going to continue to work, is earnings limits. So the Social Security puts limits on what you can earn before further reduction. So let's look at that. So if you file, and these numbers change, so these numbers are for 2020 because this changes every year. Second half of the year, the Social Security always announces what their inflation is going to be for the previous year, what their cost of living adjustment is. They also give these numbers. But for 2020, it's $18,240 a year. So if you're under your full retirement age and receiving benefits and you're still working, $1 of benefits are going to be withheld for every $2 that you exceed this $18,240. So not only do you have an age reduction, you also have an earnings reduction. So be careful there because you will receive an additional reduction if you earn too much. The exception to the rule, and when you're dealing with the federal government, there's always exceptions to rules. Social Security Administration is no different. The exception to the rule in 2020, if you do reach your FRA but decide to file early, which again, there's a reduction because remember, it's by the month, not by the year. So if you reach your full retirement age in 2020 and you decide to go ahead and file, even though you're not at your FRA, you can earn $48,600. They will allow you to earn in 2020 before the reduction happens. The reduction there is $1 of benefits are withheld for every $3 in earnings over $48,000. And again, this only applies in the year that you reach your FRA. Now, unlike the age reduction, this does not apply. This reduction in your earnings limit, because of your earnings limit, does not apply once you've reached your full retirement age. You can earn an unlimited amount of money once you reach your full retirement age without a reduction. Okay, so there's a difference there. Where the age reduction sticks with you forever, your income reduction because of your earnings limits only sticks with you till your full retirement age. But that does not mean by any stretch that you're clear of Uncle Sam. Okay. Uncle Sam still wants you at your full retirement age. And how does he still want you? Well, your benefits could be taxable even after you reach your full retirement age. What do I mean by that? Is if you're still working and you claim benefits after your full retirement age, now you're going to run into taxes. Your Social Security benefit could be taxable. And if you're married filing jointly, they're going to look at your provisional income. What is your provisional income made of? Well, your provisional income, very simply, is a formula. Like Social Security loves formulas for some reason. I don't know why, but they do. They use provisional income. Provisional income simply is your adjusted gross income plus tax-exempt interest, any tax-exempt interest that you receive, plus 50% of your Social Security benefit. That makes up your provisional income. Now, if you're married filing jointly, they're going to take a look at your provisional income. Here are the 3 bracket levels of your provisional income that determines how much of your Social Security benefit is taxed. Okay? So if you earn under $32,000, if you have under $32,000 of provisional income and you're receiving benefits and you're past your full retirement age, you don't pay any tax. If you earn under, your provisional income is under $32,000. If your provisional income is between 32 and 44, if it's in that range, up to 50% of your Social Security income is going to be subject to tax. And if you earn over $44,000, or if your provisional income is over $44,000, up to 85% of your Social Security income is going to be subject to tax. So something to be mindful of there. Just because you reach full retirement age, yeah, your benefits may not be reduced because of your income, but they're going to be taxed. So make no mistake about it. Uncle Sam wants his cut of your Social Security benefits. You cannot earn an unlimited amount. So we just talked about early retirement. Now let's talk about full retirement, or FRA, your full retirement age. And again, as we discussed in part 1, it's based upon the year of your birth. If you're born before 1954, your full retirement age is 66. If you were born between 54 and 1960, essentially you add on 2 months for every year in between there. So if you're born in 1957, your FRA is 66 and 6 months. If you're born in 1960 or later, such as myself, your full retirement age is 67. Again, we can debate all day long on whether or not this is going to change. We talked a little bit about that in part 1, but that's not why we're here in part 2. So I won't go into that quagmire. It's important that you know exactly what your Social Security estimates are going to be. And there's 2 ways that you find that out. If you're under age 60, the only way you can find out what your estimated benefit will be is you got to log on to the website and you got to establish an account. Go to ssa.gov and establish an account. And you'll be able to see exactly what your primary insurance amount estimate is going to be at your full retirement age. If you're over 60, they will send you out a paper statement. That's how you find out. And I do encourage you to find out and to really audit your Social Security statement, because we have had clients that actually find errors in their Social Security statement. So it's important that you review that just to make sure that what Social Security has is correct. So let's go through the 3rd stage, which is the delayed credit stage. Now, this is a very important stage. Delayed credits are for those individuals that have reached their full retirement age but have not yet filed. Perhaps you're still working and you don't want to pay taxes on your Social Security benefits, because if you're not working and you're receiving Social Security benefits, they're not taxable. But maybe you are still working you're of full retirement age and you haven't yet filed. Well, the Social Security Service gives you delayed retirement credits. Now that happens between your full retirement age and age 70. And here's how that formula works. Again, everything's a formula. But the delayed retirement credits is Social Security will add 2/3 of 1%, which 2/3 equals 0.667%. They will add 0.667% per month to your benefit between your full retirement age and age 70 if you have not yet filed. Now, 0.667, if I extrapolate that out, if I multiply that times 12, that's 8% per year. They will add that to your benefit, and that 8% is guaranteed as of right now. Okay, obviously this is all scheduled to change, or could change, not scheduled to, but could change. So let's see what that looks like from a numbers perspective. So I have this individual who is 67 years old. Primary insurance amount is $2,800. And I'm going to, for analysis purposes, go ahead and assume that the cost of living adjustment is 2.6%. So let's look at the three scenarios. If this particular individual claims at 62, at age 70, their benefit is going to be $2,407. This individual claims at age 67, at age 70, their benefit is going to be $3,576 a month. If they wait until age 70 to take advantage of those delayed credits, that 0.667 per month, they're going to get $42.63 a month at age 70. So right away, you can see the dramatic differences between filing early, filing at your FRA, and filing with delayed credits. But here's the thing. In this case, what I did is I ran this chart to age 100. So if this individual, again, claims at age 62, and I said it earlier, right? I said that that penalty, if you will, that reduction is permanent. And now at age 100, this individual is going to be receiving $5,100 a month, close to $52, $7,700 a month if they claimed at their FRA. And if they claimed at age 70, they're going to be receiving $9,200 a month. That is a 20% difference between my delayed credits amount and my full retirement amount. And it's a 77% difference if I filed early. So that's huge. So those delayed credits can mean quite a bit. That's why it's important to consider delayed credits. Now, past age 70, there's no material benefit for you at all to delay past 70. You're not going to get any more credits at that point. So that's the latest age, or the oldest that you're going to be when filing for Social Security is age 70, because there's no material benefit. And oh, by the way, if you do wait to age 70 and you're still working, which I have a couple of clients that are still working, again, that tax ramifications come into play. You're still working and you're receiving Social Security benefits. So don't forget about that. But what does that look like? We just saw from a dollar standpoint. Now let's look at it from a percentage standpoint. Again, if your FRA is 66 versus 67, if you file at 66 and your FRA is 66, you're going to receive 100% of your benefits. If you're age 67 and you file, or excuse me, if FRA is 67 and you file at 66, because remember, your reduction is based upon the month, not the year. So even if you turn 67 this year and say December and you file in January, you will get a reduction. And in this case, the reduction is 93.3%. But if you have an FRA of 66 and you wait till 70, I mentioned it earlier, it's 8% per year, you get a 32% increase. And again, that's guaranteed. For those of us that are 67 as our FRA, we only get a 24% bump. So a little bit less than 8% per year. And by the way, this number is guaranteed. Why this delayed credit is so important, why this strategy is so important is because in this interest rate environment, I don't know. And if you do, please call me, email me, reach out to me. I would love to know if any investment is paying a guaranteed 8%. I don't know of any. Banks aren't doing it. Insurance companies aren't doing it. That's why that delayed credit can be so important, because it can mean a difference of, if your FRA is 66, 8% per year. That is great in this interest rate environment. You're not going to find that anywhere. But it doesn't matter if you don't have the income to supplement between 66 and 70. Or if your FRA is 67, if you don't have additional resources to supplement your income between 67 and 70, then it doesn't make a difference. You're going to need to file for that benefit. But this gives you an idea of that delayed credit strategy where, again, that 0.667 per month could make a big difference. Some other strategies or opportunities to maximize your benefits, which we'll dig a little bit deeper into these by going through actual examples, is maximizing for couples, when to file for benefits as a couple. The other is restricted application. Now, this is a very specific strategy, and it's only for those married couples who were both born before 1954 and have not yet filed. So if that is you, if you're listening to this webinar and that is you, I encourage you to make an appointment with us. Come in and see us, because the Social Security office is not going to tell you to file a restricted application. They don't care. But filing a restricted application can enhance or maximize your benefits even further. And that's not available to anybody born after 1954. So if you fall in that situation, you might want to take some time out and meet with us. We're going to talk about survivor benefits. When one spouse coordinates their benefits with another, could mean maximizing or more income. And then we're going to talk about divorced couples or former spousal benefits as well. Those are opportunities all to maximize what you're receiving. But let's go into an actual example. So here I have Joe and I have Aaron. Joe and Aaron are a happily married couple. Joe is 66. His full retirement age is 66. Aaron happens to have the exact same FRA. Joe's PIA is $1,900. Aaron's is $900. So there's a significant difference between the two PIAs. But let's see how that works out. Well, in this example, I have Joe and Aaron filing at age 62, and I also have them filing at age 70. So if Joe and Aaron file early, which means a reduction, at age 62, they both file, and they die at 85, or a little over 85, let's say closer to 90. That means that the Social Security Administration is going to pay them out a total lifetime benefit of $649,000. If they wait to age 70 to file, the Social Security Administration, based upon the same life expectancy, is going to pay them out $771,000. That's over $100,000 difference, ladies and gentlemen. That's big. And here's the important part of this graph is I have to know the break-even age for them both. Okay. This analysis, again, the Social Security office doesn't care, won't give you your break-even age. Okay. This is the analysis that needs to be done, because your break-even age determines at what age government wins or you win. So let's go back to our example. Age 62. Here for Joe and Aaron, the break-even age is 80. So at age 62, if they live to age 90, and they live past their break-even age, government wins. They don't pay out as much as they would have had they chosen to file later. If they die before their break-even age, Joe and Aaron win. Government pays them out more because they filed early. Obviously, if they filed at age 62, let's say they both die at age 80, they don't reach their break-even age, that's 18 years worth of benefits that they had been receiving. That's just the exact opposite for filing at age 70. If they live to their life expectancy or live past age 80 and they file at age 70, Joe and Aaron win. Government loses, because they're going to end up paying them out more than they would have if they filed early. If they die before that break-even age, government wins, because they're going to end up paying them out less than they would have, because they've only been paying the benefit for 10 years, where in the case of them filing early, they've been paying it for 18 years. So that's something that you need to be aware of, is that break-even age. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in our workshop. Very important concept. Got to know that break-even age in order to determine when to file, or one of the determinants in knowing when to file. So let's take a look at actual numbers. Okay, actual numbers in regards to survivor benefits. So now we're going to add in another layer here and talk about survivor benefits. So take the exact same couple, Joe and Aaron, just as before, 1900 PIA, 900, except Joe is going to pass at 84. Aaron is going to outlive him to 89. So what does that mean at each stage? Stage 1, which is filing early, Joe is going to earn $376,000 before he passes. Aaron is going to earn $187,000, and then Aaron is going to file on Joe's record. She's going to receive $85,000 in benefit for a total of $649,000 over her lifetime. If they wait till age 66 or their full retirement age, Joe's going to earn $410 before he passes. Aaron's going to earn $205. Then she's going to file on Joe's record as a survivor, $729,000 there. And if they wait to age 70, Joe's going to earn $421. And again, they notice here they both live past their break-even age. Joe's going to earn $421. Aaron's going to earn $199. Her survivor benefit's going to be $150, $480. So she's going to receive $771,000. That is Social Security maximization. That's more than $100,000 than if they would have filed earlier, and about maybe $40,000 more than what they would have filed at full retirement age. So this 771 is what we refer to as Social Security maximization. Important note here for the survivor benefit. The surviving spouse can receive the higher of either the deceased spouse's benefit or their own benefit, the higher of the two. You don't receive your deceased spouse's benefit and your own benefit. That's not how that works. You receive one or the other, the higher of the two, and Social Security will automatically make that adjustment. Okay, that is for the surviving spouse. So that might be a consideration that you look at, is what are the benefits going to be for the surviving spouse? If one spouse is particularly in poor health, again, these are the considerations that you need to be talking about with your advisor. But survivor benefits in general, there's some rules that you need to be mindful of. As I just talked about, that surviving spouse can receive 100% of the deceased spouse benefit or your own, the higher of the two, not both. If you do receive a step up and get that survivor spouse's benefit, your amount will stop. You must have been married at least 9 months. So if Joe and Aaron had just recently gotten married, let's say in the last 6 months, and Joe passes, Aaron is not going to receive survivor benefits from Joe. You got to be married at least 9 months. And you can receive survivor benefits as early as age 60, 50 if you're disabled, okay? And you will get the full benefit at FRA. So you do receive a step up, unlike if you file on your own record. Benefit is not available to the surviving spouse before age 60 if you remarry. So I do have, interesting story, I have a client who got divorced many, many years ago. In fact, I think it was about 25 years ago. And we filed for Social Security in my office maybe 2 years ago. And she had not gotten remarried, although she had been in a relationship for 15 years. But because the income differences were so significant, her ex-husband's primary insurance amount, which is so much greater than hers, she chose not to get married because she would have to give up that benefit. And so you can't receive or file on your ex-spouse's record if you remarry. Now, you do have to meet some requirements if you're going to file on your ex-spouse's record. Number 1, you can't be remarried. We just talked about that. Number 2, you have to have been married at least 10 years. Number 3 is you have been at least divorced for 2. And you can receive some ex-spouse's benefit if you are taking care of a child under the age of 16 who's also filing on their own record. You can also receive spousal benefits, surviving benefits as well if you're caring for a child under the age of 16 or 19 if they're still in school. That is a survivor benefit as well. But again, something that we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. But let's go into some actual examples. I just like these examples because I feel that they're so much better than just spewing out data. It helps when we look at actual examples. So there's a case here. Let's look at the two cases in how survivor benefits work. There's a case of the deceased did and did not file for benefits. So let's look at each. If the deceased did not file for benefits, the survivor is going to look at two scenarios. Did they die before full retirement age or did they die after full retirement age? What's the survivor going to receive? Again, if the deceased did not file for benefits and they die before their full retirement age, the deceased is going to get the higher of the two amounts. They're either going to file on their own record or they're going to file on the deceased record, and they're going to get the higher of the two, not both. If they did not file and they died after their FRA, then those delayed retirement credits come into play. Say, for example, in this case, the deceased spouse was 68 years old and hadn't filed yet for Social Security benefits. They're due some delayed credits. And if the surviving spouse files for survivor benefits, they're going to get those delayed credits added on to their benefit. If the deceased did file for benefits, once again, I got to answer the question, was it before full retirement age or on or after full retirement age? So if the deceased did file for benefits and it was their full retirement age, now there is a formula. There's that formula, the head of the formula reestablishing itself. Social Security likes formulas. You're going to be receive what's called the widow's limit. Social Security refers to this as the widow's limit, and it's a maximum benefit of one of two calculations: the actual benefit at the time of the deceased, the actual benefit of the deceased, or 82.5% of the deceased FRA benefit. 82.5% of the deceased FRA benefit or the actual benefit. Larger of the two is what you're going to receive. This benefit has saved many a widow. Okay. If they did file for benefits after their full retirement age, as I said earlier, and I said it again, and I'll say it again, you're going to get the larger of the two. You're either going to get your deceased spouse's amount or you're going to get your amount, the higher of the two. Okay. As I like to do, though, I always like to give examples. Again, examples resonate better with me than just spewing out numbers and data. So I like to give examples quite a bit. But let's talk about Frank and Ellen. Okay. Frank, strategy number one, again, looking at what happens if Frank passes before filing at age 60. I said earlier, the earliest age that a survivor can apply for benefits is age 60. Age 60, Ellen's going to file because Frank passed. The benefit there is going to be $1,573 a month. At Ellen's FRA, she's going to step up to and file on her own record. So she's going to get off the survivor benefit and file on her own record. So it's going to step up from $1,573 to $2,000. And if Ellen passes at age 92, Social Security is going to pay her out a total of $737,000. Let's look at strategy number two. Exact same starting point. Ellen's 60, Frank has passed. She's going to file for that survivor benefit because that's the earliest age that she can do so. $1,573, right? Age 70, however, that's where the delayed credits are going to come in. She's going to file on her own record. Now her benefit is $2,640 versus $2,000. That's where those delayed credits really have helped her. She passes at age 92. Now the Social Security income is going to be $843,000, so $100,000 difference in strategies just by utilizing those delayed credits. So Ellen's in a much better position in strategy number two versus strategy number one. And oh, by the way, get off on a side note here. I'm not suggesting that you absolutely use the delayed credits at every turn. It's not a strategy that works for everybody. Okay. And if you need to file early, then you need to file early. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want you to understand the impact in your financial plan, whether you file early or whether you use delayed credits or whether you file your full retirement age. Just understand the impact. That's really what our goal is here in doing this, is to understand the impact. Okay, so some other things to consider for beneficiaries is that 62 years or age or older for the spouse. Again, if you file, that's the first one when you can file for spousal benefits. Excuse me, not spousal benefits, but for filing on your ex-spouse's record, you have to be 62 years or older. And here's an interesting one here, is that if your parents are dependent upon you, and if you meet certain criteria, you could actually be eligible for survivor benefits. For survivor benefits, you could be eligible if you're a caregiver for your parent. So if they pass while under, receiving benefits, you could actually receive benefits as a survivor. And then if you're unmarried and you have children that are younger than age 18 and 19, if they're still in high school and they're disabled, you could receive benefits as well. And that comes after, that is part of the disability benefits through Social Security. So keep that in mind. So what questions do you have? Well, there's all kinds of questions, and we haven't seen, we haven't heard of many, there's not many questions that we haven't heard of, in other words. But when should you apply for Social Security? What if I want to keep working? What if I've already applied? How much will my benefit be? How do I coordinate spousal benefits? What do I do next? What's the best long-term strategy? All of these questions that you may have when talking about Social Security, we can help you with that. That's why we're here. That's what we do, and we do it well. But we learned about strategies. We talked about the FRA. We talked about the filing early, delayed credits. We talked about optimizing strategies for couples. We also talked about surviving benefits, when you can apply, and what those survivor benefits could mean. We also talked about why Social Security was so important. We also answered some common questions. Again, what happens if I retire early? What do I have to worry about? What happens if I use those delayed credits? What's that going to mean in my bottom line? We also talked about some strategies to optimize those benefits. And this probably is more important than most things that I've talked about today, but you cannot outlive Social Security. Okay, if you live to be 150 years old, let's say technology improves and you live to be 150 years old, you can't outlive Social Security. You will still be receiving a check right up to the day that you pass. And you absolutely have to be aware of benefits being reduced if you file early. And as a surviving spouse, or you have to consider the surviving spouse benefit when you're going to file. And if you're widowed or divorced, you can additionally receive benefits. But keep in mind, Social Security is just one part of so many moving pieces. You have to consider your pensions, your IRAs, require minimum distributions at age 72. Maybe that comes into play, your investment portfolio, and also if you're still planning to work, any investments that you may have, you're still planning to work, pensions, IRAs, all those have to be taken into consideration within the context of Social Security in order to know exactly what the right decision is. So last thing, what can Social Security personnel can do and what they can't do? Well, what they can do is very simple. They can estimate what your benefit is going to be, and they can tell you the amount that you're entitled to. That's it. So when you go to the Social Security office, you're going to wait longer than it takes you to file. By the way, we can help you file in our office. We've helped many a client file for Social Security right from the website. What they can't do is they can't recommend any strategies to maximize what you're doing, survivor benefit or otherwise. They don't care. They can't run the analysis. They can't determine your break-even age. They don't care to. Well, should I file later or should I file now? You ask the Social Security personnel that, they're going to go, I don't know. That's up to you. I'm just here to tell you how much your amount is, and if you need a benefit estimate. They're not going to be able to take you through various scenarios. But that's what we do. We can do a customized Social Security analysis for you that will determine that break-even age, will determine your survivor benefits, that can determine how Social Security fits into your financial plan. Use this as a resource. We do have this maximization analysis available for you, and it's customized to your particular situation. So I do encourage you, if you have questions, please schedule a review with us today. We have multiple ways. Email us, call us. You can make an appointment directly from our website, www.pineswealth.com. Go to the upper right-hand corner and schedule an appointment with us right from the website, or call and email us. Just schedule an appointment if you have questions. So last but certainly not least is I thank you again for your time today. I'm running up against, I said 45 minutes, I'm running up against that. I do want to thank you, because I know that the most precious gift that you could ever give anybody is the gift of time. Because once you give that, you can't get it back. So I do absolutely appreciate the time that you've spent with us here today. I hope you've got some good information. And remember, we're a resource that's available to you. Let us help you. Be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and on LinkedIn. Go to our website, www.pineswealth.com. Stay healthy. Be careful. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks so much.